Hi friends, coming to you live from my new place. I just moved to a house. This is the first time I've lived in a house that wasn't a house that I grew up in with my parents. Since then I've been in apartments with my wife. So it's really fantastic. We have a lot more room here. This is going to be a dedicated filming room, which is very exciting. Anyway, that's not what today's video is about. Today I want to talk about church hurt, and specifically why church hurt is not a good reason to leave Christianity. It is very often the catalyst for many to leave Christianity. If you have spent considerable time within a community of Christian believers and you have not experienced some form of church hurt, you are truly blessed. This is something that happens all the time. Now, there are plenty of people who experience this type of relational wounding, and it doesn't lead to a shipwrecked faith, if you will. It leads to various things, and this could be hopefully reconciling to some degree, or there's some sort of separation. Maybe they leave that church and go to another church. But hopefully, there's a pursuit of peace and unity, as the Bible asks us to try our best to do in the body. When church hurt becomes something that causes somebody to deconstruct their faith in Jesus is when you have the relational hurt paired with distorted theology. What must be pointed out about this type of church hurt is while it often involves legitimate relational wrongs, which are sometimes very serious, we also see that many times it is showing the theological weakness of the one who is hurt. When they're not taught things like we have always had this sinful desire to want to be our own gods, or when we're taught a caricature of how God defines sexuality, or we're taught that our issues can be solved through a faith-filled prayer transaction with God, or the simple truth that God defines everything. People are going to crumble when their expectations are not met. And in the midst of that internal strife, people will reach out to their friends who are also in the church, perhaps. And they may receive a very weak theological answer from their friends because their friends might be being taught the same things that they are. Or perhaps they meet with a friend who shares biblical truth with them, and they don't receive it. And any number of events and nuances that can come through this process that people embark on, the result often is that people will continue on their journey away from God. Many people have used this emotional catalyst to begin a deconstruction journey that is fueled by emotional reasoning and not logical reasoning focused on the evidence of the Christian faith, or studying the Bible in a thoughtful and rigorous way. And often there's a general push away from the Bible in order to answer these questions as opposed to leaning in. This emotional reasoning results in everything from recklessly reinterpreting the scripture in an attempt to hold on to the scripture in some way and try to make your newly evolving worldview make sense with the scripture, bringing your worldview to the scripture, or you just reject the scripture altogether, or you reject belief in God altogether, with a lot of help from the internet. When pressed on why they decided to deconstruct their faith, you see that the same emotional reasoning is there that was there at the beginning. Anyway, leaning on a pastor or fellow church members for fulfillment and acceptance is a recipe for disaster. But the work of God in somebody's life, which gives them the desire to obey Jesus, to love Jesus, and to carefully understand his scriptures and follow them, that is the antidote to church hurt that leads to abandoned faith. But with all that said, that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please feel free to share your thoughts. I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye.